Hello students, now we are going to discuss about Newton's third law of motion. According to this law, for every action, there will be an equal and opposite reaction. In order to understand this in a better way, whenever an object 1 exerts a force on object 2, which is represented by F21 vector, then the object 2 must also exert equal and opposite force on object 1, which is represented by F12 vector. So here F21 vector is what? The force exerted by the object 1 on the object 2. F12 vector represents what? The force exerted by the object 2 on the object 1. These forces must lie along the line joining the two objects. The equation for the Newton's third law of motion is written as F12 vector is equal to minus F21 vector. Newton's third law assures that the forces occur as equal and opposite pairs. An isolated force or a single force cannot exist in nature. So Newton's third law states that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Here, action and reaction pair of forces do not act on the same body but on different bodies. Here, action and reaction pair of forces do not act on the same body but on two different bodies. Any one of the forces can be called as an action force and the other force is called as a reaction force. Newton's third law is valid in both inertial and non-inertial frames. These action-reaction forces are not cause and effect forces. It means that when object 1 exerts force on object 2, the object 2 exerts equal and opposite force on body 1 at the same time. Next, we are going to see about the discussion on Newton's laws. First point, Newton's law or vector laws. The equation F vector is equal to m into a vector is a vector equation, and essentially it is equal to three scalar equations. In Cartesian coordinates, this equation can be written as fxi cap plus fyj cap plus fzk cap is equal to maxi cap plus mayj cap plus mazk cap. Now we have to compare the both sides. Then we will get three scalar equations. They are fx is equal to max. From this it is understood that the acceleration along the x direction depends only on the component of force acting along the x direction. Come to the next scalar equation, fy is equal to m into ay. From this it is understood that the acceleration along the y direction depends only on the component of force acting along the y direction. Come to the next scalar equation, fz is equal to maz. From this it is understood that the acceleration along the z direction depends only on the component of force acting along the z direction. From the above equations, we can say that the force acting along the y direction cannot alter the acceleration along x direction. In the same way, Fz cannot affect Ay and Ax. This understanding is essential for solving the problems. Next point, the acceleration experienced by the body at the time t depends on the force which acts on the body at that instant of time. It does not depend upon the force which acted on the body before the time t. This can be expressed as f of t is equal to ma vector of t. From this, it is understood that acceleration of the object does not depend upon the previous force. For example, when a spin bowler or a fast bowler throws the ball to the batsman, once the ball leaves the hand of the bowler, it experiences only the gravitational force and the air frictional force. The acceleration of the ball is independent of how the ball was bowled. Next point. In general, the direction of force may be different from the direction of motion. But in some cases, the object may move in the same direction as the direction of the force. But it is not always true. Few examples are given below. Let us see one by one. Look at case 1. Force and motion in the same direction. In order to understand this, look at the picture. When an apple falls towards the earth, it will experience the downward gravitational force. At the same time, the direction of motion of the apple also downward. Both the direction of motion as well as the direction of force are said to be in the same direction. Next, come to case 2. Force and motion are not in the same direction. In order to understand this, let us imagine the motion of the moon around the earth. We know that the moon is rotating around the earth in an elliptical orbit. So when the moon moves around the earth, it will experience a force towards the earth. But it actually moves in an elliptical orbit. So in this case, the direction of force is said to be different from the direction of the motion of the moon. Next, case 3. Force and motion are in opposite direction. Look at the picture. If an object is thrown vertically upward, the direction of motion is said to be upward, but the gravitational force is acting downward. So in this case, the gravitational force is downward, at the same time the direction of motion is upward. So we can say that the force and the motion are in opposite direction. Case 3. Zero net force, but there is a motion. Let us imagine the raindrop comes from the cloud. It will experience two different kinds of force. One is the downward gravitational force, at the same time upward air frictional force. So this upward air frictional force will cancel the downward gravitational force, so that the net force acting on the raindrop will become zero. So when this net force becomes zero, the acceleration will become zero. But it will have the constant velocity. That constant velocity is said to be the terminal velocity. So the raindrop which comes from the cloud will experience zero net force, zero acceleration, but it has a non-zero terminal velocity. Next point. Let us imagine if multiple forces like F1 vector, F2 vector, F3 vector and so on up to Fn vector are acting on the same body, then the total force experienced by the body is equivalent to the vectorial sum of the individual forces acting on it, which can be expressed as F net vector is equal to F1 vector plus F2 vector plus F3 vector plus and so on up to Fn vector. See the next point. In this point we can see the another form of Newton's second law. See the Newton's second law equation. F vector is equal to m into a vector. Here a vector is replaced as what? D squared r vector divided by dt squared. So F vector becomes what? M into d squared r vector divided by dt squared. From this expression, it is understood that Newton's second law is a second order ordinary differential equation. And whenever the second derivative of the position vector is not zero, there must be a force acting on the body. Next point. If no force acts on the body, then the Newton's second law will become m into dv vector by dt is equal to 0. It implies that v vector is equal to what? Constant. When we differentiate constant, we will get what? 0. From this, it is understood that Newton's second law is consistent with the first law, which means that Newton's first and second laws are independent laws. They can internally be consistent with each other but cannot be derived from each other. Next point, Newton's second law is cause and effect relation. Newton's second law is cause and effect relation. Here, force is the cause and acceleration is the effect. So, the effect should be written in the left hand side and the cause should be written in the right hand side of the equation. So, the correct way of writing Newton's second law is what? M into A vector is equal to F vector, or dP vector by dt is equal to F vector. Thank you, students.